a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. With me today is William Lees, and he's here to talk about heat pumps. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
So let's pretend that none of us know anything about a heat pump.
Okay.
So describe what it is, what its purpose is.
A heat pump is for heating and cooling your home. It does that by transferring heat between the inside and outside. If you're trying to cool it, it takes heat from within your home, transfers it outside. If you're trying to heat your home, you grab heat from outside and bring it into your home.
Okay. No, I had one when I lived in Ontario, and that one you could either go use hydro or gas, like you could switch. Are
Yep.
they still like that? Is that still the same thing?
That would be called a hybrid system. So that would be similar to like a hybrid vehicle, how you'd have it gas and battery powered as well. That is one option, but luckily in Fraser Valley here, with our very mild climate, it isn't something that is required.
Okay, so you're a homeowner. What's the advantage of getting a heat pump?
The main thing that attracts people to them is the rebates at this point.
Yeah.
The fact that you can get heating and cooling for your home, and if you have an eligible contractor for it, that you're able to get that system installed for much less than a furnace and an air conditioner.
Oh, okay. No, is that something you do? Do you install them? Or
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, our company does that.
So how long have you been involved?
I've been in the trade for 15 years. I'm a red seal refrigeration mechanic. I've been doing this with my wife. We're co-owners of the business for the last 3 years.
So you have your own business then?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so where do you get the heat pumps from?
Different suppliers throughout BC. We don't commit to one brand specifically because we want to be able to offer the customers good, better, best options. And to do that, usually the heat pumps are the top of the line ones from each brand or manufacturer.
Right.
We try to tailor it to every customer so that we can give those options and basically not just try and do a one size fits all approach.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you about size. So like I'm in a, let's just say this is my house, okay? It's a 2-bedroom house. I don't know what the square footage is, like 1,100 or 1,200 square footage. Is there sizes, large, medium, small, that, how would that work?
So there is a wide variety of sizes. You never really want to size something based off of square footage.
Oh, okay.
What changes everything is your insulation levels, how well your home is sealed, the load, the people living in it. So just trying to size it off of square footage is not the best practice by any means. But yeah, they have a wide variety. The other question is, do you have ductwork existing in your house? If you do, we can hook up a unit to your ductwork, and then you don't have to have any wall mounted units.
Okay.
But if you don't have ductwork or you have electric baseboard like yourself, then there are the option of installing wall mounted units in different zones of the house.
Oh, they go in the wall.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So do they work it for apartments?
They do. Some of the challenges with the apartments is it's 2 halves of a system. So you have to have the indoor units mounted, and then you have to have an outdoor unit as well. So placing that outdoor unit can be a challenge at times. What we are allowed to do is place them on a balcony, but if it's below freezing and you're heating inside your apartment, that's going to produce water, which will turn to ice. So that's one of the biggest challenges for apartment buildings.
Right.
The other is we're meant to be 42 inches back from a banister to prevent kids from being able to climb on top of them and cause issues that way.
Okay, so let's just say, I mean, it probably wouldn't happen here because we have strata, and that's a big, whole other issue.
Yeah.
But let's just say, for instance, I have an enclosed balcony.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, it still gets cold in there, but it's enclosed. Would it work better in an enclosed balcony?
No, because it would continue to recycle that air, and the temperature of that air would get colder and colder, and then the heat pump would then struggle to extract heat from that colder and colder air. You want to have good airflow around.
Right. Well, there are windows that open.
You might be okay then.
But then you're the same thing though. Now you're dealing with the weather again. So we had like this really cold spell recently, right? So then that would be an issue, right?
Exactly. And the other concern, if it is enclosed like that, they are impressively quiet, quieter than your average air conditioner. But with that noise vibrating, radiating back and forth in that enclosed space, you might notice it within the home.
Oh, okay. So how long on average does it take for one to be installed?
So we spend for a central heat pump, like one that is hooked up to ductwork in somebody's home, we spend 3 days on the job.
Okay,
I know we spend more time because we're trying to deliver a high quality product. There's a lot of extras that we do. The last day is usually used for commissioning and testing everything as well. But as far as like the start of the process to the end, it depends on if you're pursuing rebates, things like that. But that's where we've developed a process to walk people through those processes because it can be overwhelming for sure.
okay. No, the one we had actually sat on the ground, like on I think there was a concrete pad it sat on. And it wasn't mounted on the wall.
Yes, we always try to do that as well. The concern with mounting it to a wall, the outdoor unit, are you speaking of the outdoor unit at this
Yes,
point?
yeah.
Okay, the concern is those vibrations could transfer into the building. If the wall is stone or brick or something, it might be lesser, but you never also want it sitting right on the ground. Because if the outdoor unit is producing that water in the winter, it becomes ice, and then it's sitting in that pile of ice, it'll just continue to climb up the unit and drop the efficiency of it.
Okay. How long did it take you to learn about them? Like about the mechanics of it?
So
Sorry?
no problem. So they follow the same principles of refrigeration at the end of the day. So with being a refrigeration mechanic, it wasn't so much the principles of it. It was more so learning about navigating the rebate process, being a business owner, helping people with that. That process did take probably a year for us to refine it and get it moving smoothly. But the actual operations of the system, I've been dealing with it for years. So.
Oh, okay. So unfortunately, I know about rebates when you're a condo, when you're in a strata, you fall through the cracks. You don't apply, you don't qualify for any kind of rebates, which is unfortunate. I had another question, it just went out of my head. I know, are they more popular? Are they becoming more popular?
Absolutely, yeah. The technology's changed a lot in the last 10 years. The old heat pumps, there would always be the thought of it hits zero, it has to turn off, it's not going to work.
Okay.
Most of the heat pumps we sell today are rated to at least -30. So there isn't a day ever in the Fraser Valley that we're going to hit that is going to completely turn off.
Right.
So that's changed things a lot. It made it so it can be an independent system. But one of the limiting things is a properly designed system. I wouldn't design it to keep up till -20 or record coldest day.
Right. No, because of that circulation need, so you couldn't put like the part that's outside, you couldn't put like a cover on it.
No, you always want to make sure that you have good airflow. So if the cover were something that wouldn't impede the airflow in any way, you could do that. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that it has the ability to move air.
Okay, so now you have one, it's installed. What kind of maintenance does it require?
So yearly maintenance is definitely recommended on them. The main thing is cleaning the outdoor unit. I had an old boss that used to say, find the dirt, find the problem. So you want to just make sure that you get it cleaned, change the filters, clean the indoor filters every once a year at least. The indoor units actually manufacturers recommend every 2 to 4 weeks, which might be excessive, but it all depends on the environment of your inside place.
Yeah, and we get a lot of dust, because there's building around us, right? So that seems to be a lot of dust. So then if it was here, for instance, we'd need more cleaning more often, the filters. Obviously, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And the other point that's good about the maintenance side of it, if you do get the hybrid system like you were talking about, you're now maintaining 2 different systems every year too, right? And since the heat pump can work, we usually design to about -8. There's only 3 or 4 days a year that are generally colder than that.
Right.
To have a furnace sitting there and maintaining it every year, to run it 3 or 4 days of the year, it just doesn't make sense in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm just wondering about like once it's installed, like in the wall, now for insurance purposes, like does that cause a problem for the insurer, the homeowner?
No.
Because you put a hole in,
Yeah, it's almost every system is going to pass through a wall. Like a furnace will have a vent that passes through a wall. It's important to make sure that those penetrations are sealed properly. You want to always make sure you are treating the envelope of the house first. And that's something that when getting a system like this, if you have an older home, the smartest thing always is to insulate, seal up the house first, and then get a system size based on that. It's like having a boat with a hole in it. Instead of putting a bigger bilge pump in it, you got to plug that hole.
Yes, for sure. No, I imagine these appliances, because that's what I guess you could call it, come with a warranty from the manufacturer's warranty, right?
Absolutely, yeah. They all have, for residential use, 10 years warranty at least. Certain brands have 12, because we're a lead dealer for Fujitsu, so we have that extended to 12 years.
Okay,
That's on the parts and the compressor and the system. And then we personally put a 1-year labor warranty on it after we install it. But if anything's related to the install issues down the road, we're gonna take care of that for the
Right.
customer.
has there ever been a case where it was faulty, for no reason that you know of, but it just was faulty?
Yep, yeah, absolutely. It does happen. It happens with any type of equipment.
Yeah,
That's the importance of doing a proper commissioning on the first day to try and catch those before the customer has to be uncomfortable one day. But yeah, it can happen for sure.
yeah, just thinking about, when you're talking about, thinking about cars, can be a lemon,
Yep.
right? So anything that runs on a motor,
Mhm.
any kind of system can be, have some sort of problems sometime,
Exactly.
but it's probably rare, I would think, right?
Yes, it really, there is a wide variety, although there's all these systems that are rebate eligible. The ones on the lower end, we try to steer customers away from, just because
Yeah,
there's been quality control issues, especially with the last 2 years, manufacturers rushing things out the doors.
Mhm.
We like to stick to certain brands at this point.
right. Well, I would tell any consumer, like, if you're gonna pay a lot of money for something,
Mhm.
do some legwork first, do some due diligence, right? Check out the companies, because you can go to consumers reports and find out all kinds of information, right?
Absolutely, it's always a great idea, and when you're getting a quote for a system, you always want to get 3 contractors into.
Right,
It's always a good idea to have more to compare to, and yeah, do your research as well.
yeah, I just think, because I do a lot of interviews, and somebody wanted me to talk about a product that they were promoting, so I looked up the company, there was complaints about the company in that returning, it was so difficult to return the product and stuff, and I said, no, I can't do that.
Yes,
This company has to fix their issues first if you want me to promote that, right?
for
You
sure.
know, and then, of course, I want some freebies because I don't get paid.
Only natural.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask you, where's my sample?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's in the van
It's
outside.
in the hand, okay, so we'll get to the sample after no, I'm just joking, obviously, right, and so how much do these things, like the smaller ones, say, how much do they weigh on the average?
It's a great question. I'd like to give a figure off the top of my head. I can't say though. I would assume the outdoor units are at least a couple £100. Yeah, so you want to make sure that it's not mounted incorrectly, especially above anything that could be a concern.
Right, how many people does it take to install one?
We have 2 people on every included install. The biggest
Okay.
challenge is pulling the copper lines, because you have your indoor and your outdoor unit,
Mhm.
and you have to connect between those two to have the refrigerant. That's the medium that it transfers heat back and forth through.
Right,
So pulling those through, you want someone on each end, and also we always put the outdoor units on a stand to get it up off the ground. You want to be able to place the units and to lift them up. If they're a couple £100, definitely takes a couple people.
yeah, for sure, now, people, do they want to know do people ask you like all kinds of questions about it once they have it or before they have it? Are they very good at?
Yes, I tend to go overboard on the information a bit, so it can be a lot to digest in the first go. So I always make sure that I keep that dialogue open for the customers when they're going through their first year and experience and everything. Communication is definitely important. It is a bit different from your existing furnace and AC kind of system.
Right,
Just like noises in the outdoor unit and things that people aren't used to, them producing ice outside, things like that. Another big change is the fact that you don't want to set the temperature back every night. They used to say it's more efficient for a furnace to cool it down at night and let it catch up. These are all now variable speed.
oh, okay.
It's like having a gas pedal in your car. It
Yeah.
can go all sorts of speeds. So if you can run it at the minimum speed all the time and just maintain your temperature inside your house, it's going to be more efficient, and it's going to struggle less to catch up.
Oh, okay, because it's like, when we listen to the hydro companies, they're always saying, turn down your heat, right?
Yeah.
So we get this kind of misinformation in a way, especially when it comes to the heat pumps.
Yes, BC Hydro actually has some really great information. If you look at their thermostat guides and things like that for a heat pump specifically, they'll mention the same things I just did.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
very good, yeah. Did we get everything, do you think?
There's always more to talk about. I can talk about everything,
Well, if
but
there's something that I haven't, that you want to,
Mm,
is this the name of your company, by the way?
Yes, it is.
Can you see this, everybody?
Yes.
Luxury climate, but I'll make sure it's included under your name when I do that,
Appreciate
when
it.
it's rendered, okay?
Yep.
But I'm just trying to think of questions that I might not have asked that you might want to bring up.
Well, I guess since the main selling thing is usually price, the amount of rebates might be interesting to people because they're always surprised to hear about
Yeah.
how much is available.
Right?
There's two programs that there's the federal and the provincial one.
Oh, okay,
So the federal one, it involves a process of getting a energy advisor out before and after to take a snapshot of how energy efficient your home is.
right?
There are 2 visits. There's a rebate for them as well of $600. Their 2 visits typically range from $600 to $1,000. The rebate then is up to $5,000 from that program for a heat pump.
Okay.
And then there's also the provincial rebate.
That's your.
Is that me? Oh.
It doesn't matter, they wouldn't have picked it up, I don't think the mic would have picked it up.
And then there's also provincial rebates that can be joined with that, up to $6,000 for the average homeowner. Chilliwack actually has a $2,000 top up on top of that. And then there's what's called the income qualified program, which can be up to $9,500, and we build a program that directly and take it off the bill.
Right, so I haven't asked the price of heat pumps, what are the range in prices? I imagine there must be a range.
Yeah, I'll speak of a central heat pump for ductwork. The most cost-effective ones that we have started about $12,000. And then the higher end, when you get into the higher end brands, they can go upwards of $22,000.
Okay,
But those systems in Chilliwack, if you're not rebate eligible, or sorry, income qualified eligible as of now, is $13,000 in rebates total. And then if you are income qualified, is $14,500.
makes a big difference, doesn't it? Having those rebates, right?
Yeah.
And that, I think a lot of people don't even realize that they can qualify. So as you said, you let them know, right?
Yes, we help them through the process. We usually start with a consultation, sit down with the homeowner for an hour or two, and I'll get them started on educating them about the rebates, figuring out if this is the path that they want to go. We do offer other services, like typical furnace and AC as well, but usually most of the time people are contacting us specifically for heat pumps,
Right.
or if they didn't, they end up wanting to go that way because the cost savings, and a lot of people are curious about the environmental impact as well.
Yeah.
Because
Is there ever such a unit as that would do a whole building?
yes,
There is, eh?
there is, it is possible to have that to retrofit it, to add it to an existing building would be very, it would take a lot for it to do. So it's usually more ideal to do it at the start when it's being constructed. We do have one building that has 100 different heat pump systems on it, an apartment building that we maintain for them, so.
Wow, yeah, this place was built in 1995, so, obviously there's been a lot of changes since this building was first erected, right?
Yes, and as you mentioned with strata before,
Yeah,
it can be a challenge because with it being an indoor and an outdoor,
yeah,
it can be confusing where the responsibility lies of maintaining the system when it's 2 halves.
yeah. Well, I think I know, I was on council, so I think the minute, if I were to get one, I'm now responsible for inside, for outside, because I've changed the structure,
Exactly.
or whatever the word, I compromised the structure is probably the way they would word it, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, great. I think we covered everything, so I'm pretty sure. By the way, I talk with my hands a lot, sorry. So anyway, I just want to remind the audience, you've been listening to William Lees, and his company is Luxury Climate, and it's all about heat pumps. And I know that they are a good deal, because when we had one, my ex was really good at paying attention to the cost. The savings, overall,
Yes.
so it was really good. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching the show. I hope you continue to do so. Take care, everyone, and peace out. Now we're gonna find the off switch. There we go, Pope.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see.